Okay, Ednas Law. I'd like to start with who was Edna. Edna was a vulnerable elderly person who suffered horrendous abuse, which continued even though whistleblowers spoke out and tried to protect her. Because the law failed the whistleblowers, the wrongdoing was never addressed and continued, and that is what we want remembered with this law to protect whistleblowers, that those people whose lives depend on a whistleblower are at the heart of this law, and it's those people that pay the price when whistleblowers are not protected. The current law, the Public Interest Disclosure Act, has failed whistleblowers miserably. I mean, it's beyond words. To sit in an employment tribunal and witness a whistleblowing case is like watching a lamb go to the slaughter, and those are the few cases that make it into court. Most whistleblowers can't afford to deposit to get into court. They can't even consider representing themselves and can't access legal representation. The barriers to justice are so great that, it must be a country where the only legislation we have is actually hostile to whistleblowers. Some people would argue that it's better than no law at all. Well, actually, it's worse because it gives people false hope. Ednas Law would make it a criminal offence not to act on the genuine concerns of a whistleblower or to cause a whistleblower harm. And it would be heard in a criminal court in front of a jury, and it would address the wrongdoing as well as the harm to the whistleblower. So the public interest issues are in the public domain, which is where they should be, to be honest. No good employer has anything to fear from Ednas Law because only genuine whistleblowers and genuine concerns that have been failed, to be acted on would apply. So it's not something that employers need to fear, but it is a deterrent to those bad employers who value their reputation above, the lives of people that have been abused, maybe in their care homes, or when children are in danger, and all the other wrongdoing that goes on in banks, in schools, in care homes, in hospitals, in people driving buses. It can be anywhere, it can be any aspect of life. Ednas Law would protect the whistleblower and therefore protect the public, and we cannot afford not to protect whistleblowers. The state would prosecute with Ednas Law. Currently, PIDA expects the whistleblower to save up before they report any wrongdoing so that they have the money to access legal help. Ednas Law would be the state prosecutes the employer that failed to act. In a nutshell, every aspect of wrongdoing from history has shown us that had whistleblowers' concerns been listened to, lives could have been saved. The Zeebrugge ferry disaster. Had whistleblowers been listened to, hundreds of lives would have been saved, and all the people who lost loved ones, their lives would have been not harmed and by the dreadful trauma of what happened. So every day you're talking to people who've lost someone who could have been saved had a whistleblower been able to speak out, or had a whistleblower had spoken out, but those concerns were ignored. Hundreds of whistleblowers are telling us the same thing over and over and over again, and we're presenting this evidence to the government. A crucial thing here, I think, is that whistleblowing doesn't come under justice. Whistleblowing law currently does not come under justice, which I suppose, in many aspects, is not surprising considering it delivers no justice. It comes under the business department, who have told me that they don't want to overburden business with legislation to protect whistleblowers. Well, actually, isn't wrongdoing and criminal acts something that's a matter for the Justice Department? Isn't it something that any so-called civilised country should want to protect whistleblowers? It's kind of the rhetoric of politicians to say, oh yes, it's so important that people can speak out and raise these issues, and we'll have whistleblowing guardians, even though it's not worth crap, a whistleblowing guardian. What you need is a legal deterrent. Now, you wouldn't have a murder guardian because instead of a murder law, You wouldn't say, oh, well, we don't need to make it illegal, for, you know, if you kill somebody because we've got a murder guardian. So why apply that to whistleblowing? It's at the heart of everything that's wrong in this world, that, you know, people don't say when they see something wrong because they know of somebody else that lost their job because they saw something and reported it. Should we be asking people to say, choose, do you want food and a roof over your head, or do you want to report the wrongdoing? Could Jimmy Savile happen again? Oh God, yes, without any doubt, Jimmy Savile is probably happening right now. You know, at the end of the day, across this country, there are, you know, terrible abuses taking place, and people are frightened to say anything because they know what would happen if they do. They're told, oh, there's a whistleblowing policy and it's this, that and the other and all this rubbish. But when they actually raise the issue, their lives are made a misery, and they pay for the whistleblowing forever. It's not just something that you live with when you lose your job. People have lost their pensions. They will be paying for whistleblowing to the end of their days. And, you know, the blacklisting of people. Nobody wants to employ a whistleblower. They won't say, oh, we're not employing you because you're a whistleblower. They'll just say, oh, sorry, but the job is just gone, you know. And that's happening all of the time, and the current law doesn't deal with that at all. In fact, the current law actually doesn't even deal with the whistleblower, it separates the two. And when you get to the point where the whistleblower has raised the issues and their employer has caused them harm for doing so, there's a loss of trust, and that trust cannot be underestimated, because to work for somebody where you report vulnerable people, for example, have been abused, or there's going to be a major accident that's going to cost people their lives in a train crash, people should be able to raise those issues and do so safely, but that's not what's happening. And can we afford not to protect whistleblowers? Can we afford to, you know, say, oh, well, you know, the current law's all right, really, even though it's a business issue? It's not a business issue. It's at the heart of what justice should be. If you can't protect people that speak out in the public interest, then you are not a civilised country. And law and justice, well, when it comes to whistleblowing, the law is over there and justice is over here, and there's a huge chasm in between. And I think as well that the current law is actually whistleblower hostile. The public support whistleblowers, and I think that we need to keep this campaign going, and people need to realise that tomorrow they could lose their loved one in a disaster, and how would they feel if they found out someone had spoken out about the issues and they could have been saved, that you know, their husband's been killed in a train crash, and because somebody reported the tracks but they didn't want to act on their concerns. It's too much of a risk to ignore these kind of things and to pretend that the current law works, because it does not, and I've seen it firsthand. I've been told that Ednas Law is impossible. What I'm asking for is impossible. Well, I don't believe in impossible anymore, because I've already done the impossible to get this far. They tried to crush me totally as a whistleblower, and even though everything was true and was proven to be true, and I've had to fight tooth and nail to get the truth out, there was no legal protection there, none whatsoever, and every day people have been failed, and we have to do something, and Ednas Law is the answer, because it addresses everything that whistleblowers are telling us, and it's removing the obstacles to true justice. And we need to protect whistleblowers by law, and Ednas Law is the only law that will do that.